This is my new lightweight Orbea Orca, and I absolutely love it. And we've also got new fancy pants Princeton Carbon Works wheels on there as well. And naturally, I'm going to tell you all about it, why I've picked it and spec'd it the way that I have, and how I set it up individual to myself, as well as weigh it and do a Freehub sound check. So first up, here at GCN, we're very fortunate to have bike sponsors. It's one of the ways that we can make the videos that we do. Kind of similar to how a pro team has bike sponsors. And one of our sponsors is Orbea, which is great. Although it does mean that this video isn't a review, but I can tell you why I've picked this specific model and set it up the way that I have done. Now, this being the Orca is Orbea's lightweight road bike offering. They also have the Orca Aero, an aero bike. However, because at the moment I already have a Canyon Aero, which is an out-and-out aero bike, I fancied having a more dedicated lightweight climbing bike to sort of complement that and, well, cover that base as well for different things. And I've got some ideas of things I want to do where a specific lightweight climbing bike are going to be perfect for those videos. One of the things I'm going to be doing is an epic ride, end to end, north to south, across the mountains of Taiwan, which I'm actually going to go and do next week with Connor, which I'm really excited about. And a lightweight climbing bike is going to be perfect for that because there's mountains higher than 4,000 meters in Taiwan. It's absolutely nuts, but it's going to be brilliant, and a lightweight climbing bike is going to be just perfect. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it when it comes out. Now, the first thing we have to talk about is the colour of this bike, because I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. Now, this is an option offered by Orbea on their Mayo custom platform. You can waste a lot of time, trust me, playing around with different colour options on the Mayo platform. It's dangerous, believe me. Now, one of the options of finishes that they do, that's a newer option, are these sort of coloured clear coat lacquers. Now, this one is kind of like a winey burgundy red, but when you're in the sun like you are today, it really pops at times, and it changes sort of colour depending on the angle that you look at it, but I'm a big fan. And that's sort of goes really nicely with these mirrored silver logos on the down tube for the Orbea logo and the nice mirrored silver logos on the top tube. I think it looks absolutely great, but let us know in the comments what you think. I'm also a big fan of Alex's finish that he had before, not the celebration of brown, each to their own, but the one that was sort of like the matte grey sort of bluey colour with the silver logos. I thought that looked really smart as well. So whenever I get a new presenter bike here at GCN, I always treasure them. I like to take care of them, and well, I'm exceptionally lucky to be in the position that I am. It's amazing. And so what I like to do is immediately ceramic coat the frames to help protect the paint and keep them cleaner, because sometimes we hold on to a presenter bike for, you know, around 6 months, but a lot of the time have them for over a year. And so I really like to try and keep them as good condition as I can. And a clean bike is a fast bike. And ceramic coat, you can see in this sort of clip here of the bike, it just helps repel dirt off the surface and keep it cleaner. I also ceramic coated the wheels as well, which I hope will help keep them cleaner. Now, in terms of the size of the frame, this is a size 55. Now, I've done all the Selle Italia ID match fit, and it tells me that I'm between a 55 and a 57. They're the two optimum Orbea sizes for me, and for reference, I'm 185 centimetres tall. So I've gone for a 55 because that's what I've typically always run in an Orbea, and I really like it. And that's with 2 centimetres of spacers here and a 130 stem. So I could also use a 56 centimetre Pinarello and a 130 stem in that as well, potentially. But instead I've gone for the slightly larger size in the Pinarello and gone for a 120 stem. Same in the Canyon. Onto the cockpit, and I've got a 38 centimetre bar on here, which is nice and narrow, and I just get along much better with narrower bars. And again, my shoulders aren't super wide, it's what works for me, and you get a bit more aero. Also turned my levers in a little bit more. Now, that's not just for fashion, although I do think it looks cool. It's just for ergonomics. Like, I find that when you're in that sort of more aero hoods position, being able to rest your hands there, it's just a nicer position for your wrist, or it is for mine anyway. I do prefer it. The other thing is this is a round bar. Now, a lot of bikes now, they have aero bars and one-piece bars and stems, and you can get that on this bike, should you wish. And you could also fit a bladed handlebar if you wanted to still retain a separate bar and stem. But because I'm wanting to set this up and primarily has it as like a climbing bike, I do prefer the ergonomics of a round bar for that application. It's nicer and it has a number of advantages. It's easier to fit things like lights as well and other accessories and mounts on to the round bar. We've recently started using Insta360 cameras for filming, and one of the easy things to do is I can just clamp one here and have it out the front, and that becomes really easy. And then the mount here, at the moment, this is Orbea's stock mount that comes with the bike, and I've got my Wahoo Roam on there. But I'm also going to use a separate frames and gear mount that I found. Reason being is because with those you can get them a little bit bigger so that I can fit the new Wahoo Ace on there if I want to, and also have an undersung GoPro mount on it as well, which will allow me to fit either a large light for riding through the night if I'm doing some kind of mental crazy challenge, or to again fit an Insta360 camera. So very useful. Right, onto the wheels, and these are really special. So these are Princeton 4550s. Princeton have just come on board as a wheel sponsor here at GCN, which we're all absolutely delighted about because they're very, very nice. They're called 4550s because they vary in depth with their wavy profile between 45mm and 50mm. Now we're going to have the option of picking all different depth wheels from Princeton. They offer a really wide range depending on the situation, but for climbing and for all-round use, at the moment I've got the 4550s on there because they're just a great, if you're only going to get one set of deep wheels, for me this is the ideal depth to have. And they look absolutely boss, don't they, as well. They offer a whole load of different hub options on Princeton wheels as well, which is really cool. Not many brands do that. So they offer DT hubs, and I believe they offer Chris King hubs as well. These ones are white industry hubs, which are a little bit heavier than DT Swiss 180s, but I think we need to see what this Freehub sounds like. Nice, smooth, new. Not super loud, but loud enough. So on the wheels, I've got Pirelli P0 RS tyres, which are the top-end performance tyre from Pirelli, with the nice yellow RS logos on them. But rather than use sort of 28s, which have become the normal go-to width that I've used, I've actually switched down to some 26s for this because they suit the Princeton rim better, and the guys at Princeton say it's more aerodynamic, and you can see it. I mean, it's perfectly in line, it's perfectly flush with the width of the wheel. And for a bike where I'm looking to sort of optimize it more for climbing, the sort of, well, a thinner tyre is not a big trade-off, and it actually saves a bit of weight. Now in them, I've got them set them up tubeless, got the new Silka sealant in there, and I put quite a bit in. I put 50 mils in front and rear. Now if I was going full weight weenie, which I will be in the future, I would either use less sealant, probably half that, around 25 mils front and rear, half the weight saved, or I would go for the super light P0 Evo smart tubes, which weigh like 20 grams a tube. So that's another option you can do as well. Most of you have probably already spotted the Groupset is a full Dura-ace Di2 12-speed, absolutely mint. But the gearing is a 52-36 mid-compact chain set and an 11-34 cassette on the back. Regular viewers will have seen me banging on about the 1134 cassette in the past, but I absolutely love it. I try and put it on all my bikes now because I just find it so incredibly versatile. It's just got a great range. Other details, the chain set is, well, the crank length is 170 millimeters, and one of the really nice things about like the Orbea Mayo is you can spec all these things. You can pick all of those things, whether you want a 1130 or an 1134, or what size chain set you want, what size stem, what size bars, what size cranks. And yeah, I just wish more bike brands offered that level of customization. Also got the Shimano Dura-ace power meter on here. That came stock with the bike, as this is the top end Orbea model. We also have the pedals, which are Wahoo Speedplays. I've been using those for years now, and just get along very well with them. Although these ones are the Nano, which have a titanium axle, which just makes them a little bit lighter. Good for a lightweight bike. And we've got lightweight cages on here. These are Topeak Shuttle cages, which are made from carbon fibre, and they're just 18 grams each, which is very light, although you can get sort of 7 gram or like 9 gram carbon fibre bottle cages do exist. But I find that there's always a trade-off with bottle cages. When you start going down to that sort of like 10 gram mark, they all of a sudden aren't very good at holding bottles, whereas these are very secure. So yeah, top marks, and that's why I like to use them. As for my saddle, Selle Italia SLR Boost, put it on all my bikes, don't I? And this one actually came off my previous Orbea. It's actually got a mark that I've drawn on it with a Sharpie for the BRP. That's what Selle Italia calls the midpoint of the saddle, and I use that so that I can then set my saddle height and make it consistent across all the bikes, and also use the BRP to measure the saddle to bar length as well. So my saddle height is like 76 centimetres from the centre of the BB to the top of the BRP. There you go. If you're making a model at home, you know all the measurements now, don't you? One thing I nearly forgot to mention actually is the stem has been updated from the previous Orca that I had. They've made it a bit sleeker and a little bit lighter as well. You can see it's a slightly different shape. Bottom bracket at the moment is just a stock one, standard Shimano one. Might upgrade it to some fancy pants lightweight ceramic thing in the future, but yeah, we'll see. No reason to at the moment. And the chain, of course, waxed. Look at that. Eat your dinner off that. Well, you wouldn't. You wouldn't do that. But you get my drift. It's super clean. Again, one of the first things I do whenever I get a new bike, take the chain off, strip it, wax it. Good to go. Other little mods that I'm thinking of, on the back of the bike there, I'm actually going to swap out the rear mech hanger for a slightly lighter one. Little weight weenie move there. I've ordered one from Frames and Gear, which is like just a little aftermarket machined CNC one, super lightweight. I mean, it saves about, I can't remember off the top of my head, about 14 grams, but every little counts. I'm also going to try and make a few other little cheeky mods throughout the bike to just shave a bit of weight off here and there. Thinking maybe through axles, so if you know any good ones, let me know in the comments that will save some weight. But other than that, it's still pretty light at the moment, so I think we should weigh it. There you have it, we'll call it 6.8, so the UCI does have jurisdiction here. Which is cool, but let me know your thoughts on it. I'm a big fan of the classic shape, the fact that it retains that silhouette of sort of bikes from 20 years ago. I just think there's just something very visually appealing, and I love how thin the top tube is, and I love the colour. But let us know what you think, and if you've got any ideas of mods that I can make to make this even lighter. I think I can get it down to sort of 6.5 kilos without too much trouble. But yeah, let us know, because I've got some intense hill climb efforts planned for this thing. So every little is going to help. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and hopefully see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.